Thinking of buying a house and want a really low interest rate? Owning has a special for home purchases, where Owning pays all your closing costs, and the rate in APR is an unheard of 1.75% for a 15-year fixed mortgage with 20% down. This is the craziest low rate for a mortgage with no closing costs that Owning has ever done. 1.75% rate in APR. Heck, we're almost paying you to live in a new house. Call 833-2-OWNING or go to owning.com to see if you qualify for this crazy low 1.75% rate. That's a fixed rate loan at 1.75% with no closing costs. Call 833-2-OWNING now, because 1.75% could go away at any time.
NMLS 2611, licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act, subject to credit approval. Offer assumes the use of lender's choice escrow and title services. Call 833-858-0066 for terms and conditions.
That's 833-2-OWNING or owning.com. 833-2-OWNING or owning.com.
This is Mraz. Welcome to the Best of the DA show on this Thursday. We make our own bratwurst. Giannis should apologize to nobody. We have a little stun to a news with some pigeons going on there, and I can't figure out math. All of that now on the Best of the DA show.
But we begin with the Bucks. Obviously, the afterglow of the championship is all warm and fuzzy. Giannis placing himself amongst the all-time greats for this performance in the clinching game number 6, 50 points, 14 rebounds, 5 blocks, and 17 of 19 from the free throw line. Giannis was all smiles, understandably so. His post-game press conference and his post-game interviews all were really honest. They were really raw. They were really, I thought, very sincere and authentic, which is why it's impossible not to love this guy. He is self-aware, and he's also transparent. He's also a great teammate. He's an enormously hard worker, and he's developed himself into being one of the best, if not the best player in the NBA right now. So what's not to love? And of course, there's always going to be somebody that finds the negative. And so Giannis, when talking about winning it with the Bucks, said something that I felt was pretty benign. That he wanted to stay in Milwaukee to do this, did not want to chase a championship by creating a super team anywhere else. But some took that as a slight to his current teammates. Was it? It is where we begin. Your cold open.
Obviously, I wanted to get the job done. You know, but that's my stubborn side. Like, it's easy to go somewhere and go and win a championship with somebody else. It's easy. I could go, I don't want to put anybody in the spot, but I could go to a super team and, you know, just do my part and win a championship, still one. But this is the hard way to do it, and this is the way. And we did it. We did it, man.
I don't believe it! The most amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending.
It's DA's top story.
Here he goes.
It's your cold open.
Anybody who would take that quote and spin it into a negative as disrespectful to his teammates is really, really reaching. It was not meant to be disrespectful. It wasn't disrespectful in how it landed. To me, it didn't come off as disrespectful at all. And I don't think there's any part of Chris Middleton or Drew Holiday that today are saying, man, Giannis doesn't really respect us the right way. Man, Giannis really doesn't look at us the right way. Let's be quite frank. What the Bucks built was not a super team because of the humility and the groundedness and the togetherness and the chemistry and the work ethic of the guys that they do have. Because Middleton is a second-round draft pick, because he played in the G League earlier in his career, because he wasn't a guy that was given anything coming out of college or into the NBA, because Drew Holiday was acquired but wasn't a superstar, needed to be a final piece of the puzzle, but not a guy that carried all of the weight, because the rest of that roster are bit pieces and role players How could you possibly, if you're Middleton, Holiday, or anybody else on that roster, think that you're getting disrespected when Giannis says we're not a super team or I didn't go to a super team? Give me a break. Giannis has consistently talked glowingly about his teammates. He has embraced PJ Tucker. He has hugged and talked so warmly about Chris Middleton and helping build the culture there. Even when Drew Holiday stunk, he defended Drew Holiday. And in the clincher, in the Game 6 clincher, Middleton and Holiday were fine, but offensively, they weren't great. Giannis was another galaxy great. Those two guys were fine. Those two guys were very good defensively, but offensively, they were fine. They were 10 of 32. So let's stop that train in the tracks. That somehow Giannis was disrespectful to his teammates because he said, I could have gone to a super team, but I didn't. That is such ridiculousness. And that is the type of stuff I can't stand about modern media, modern sports media, modern social media, all of it. That everything, no matter what, has to be taken as a potential negative, a potential criticism. What did he really mean? What should he have said there? What was the context? What was it cloaked in? It wasn't cloaked in anything. Giannis loves his teammates. Giannis is proud of the accomplishment. And Giannis loves the idea that they got it done in Milwaukee instead of going to chase it somewhere else. And he knows that the guys that are on that roster are greater than the sum of their parts. That Middleton and Holiday individually, Tucker and the rest of those guys, Portis individually, are fine. But they're not great. But together, with Giannis, they were great. There's no part of that is disrespectful. None. 855-212-4CBS. Get 855-212-4227 if you want to weigh in. DA on CBS. I think the other thing that kind of came to light with the celebration and the analysis of the Bucks that I have to push back on is this idea that it's just a one and done. That everything broke right for the Bucks and that they'll never be able to do it again and that they should just enjoy this because it's never going to happen. And I just have to, again, call BS. How many times throughout sports history do we have to see a team break through, win a championship, be a Cinderella or an out of nowhere or an unexpected or even an expected, do it, and then because they got through the gauntlet, are now so much better positioned to do it again? It happens constantly. I've compared this team to the 94 Rockets. Guess what had to happen for Hakeem Olajuwon and the Rockets to win an NBA championship? Michael Jordan had to retire in the middle of his career. And they went back-to-back. That wasn't a great team based on its individual parts. It had one next level, next galaxy player in Hakeem, and then good parts. Kenny Smith, Vernon Maxwell, Otis Thorpe, Robert Horry, Sam Cassell. Those are not individually great players. Those were great. That was a great team because it was how they played, their coach, and their singular next-level superstar. Who's to say the Bucks can't be the Rockets? In football, in 2001, after the Patriots win a Super Bowl, nobody believes this is the budding of a dynasty. They were a double-digit underdog to the Rams. They got a defensive touchdown in that game and a bunch of field goals, and they knock off the greatest show on turf, and nobody after the game is like, you know what, that quarterback's going to end up being one of the greatest ever to play. No, it seemed like a total lark. It was a year that it all came together, the Tuck Rule game, the Snow Bowl. Suddenly, Brady takes over. He manages the offense well. The defense is next level. But nobody says that looks like a burgeoning dynasty. That looks like a team that could do this for 20 years. Nobody. The next year they went 9-7. So I'm so sick and tired of people saying, yeah, well, the Bucs can't do it again. Because they said the same thing about the Bucs doing it the first time. Is the East good? Sure. The Nets healthy are an absolute threat to the entire league. The Sixers, really good. The Heat and the Celtics should be better. Yeah, the East is really good. The Hawks could be on the verge of being deep in the playoffs every year. That's just the East. But you can't tell me that the best player of the NBA isn't the most important factor out of any of this. This team just won a championship, and now they'll be better poised to defend it and get back there because they've done it once. It's so silly when in sports we've seen opportunity stand in front of a squad and a squad take advantage of it, and then suddenly we say, yeah, but that opportunity will never happen again. Well, if it happened once, it's ridiculous. Celebrate on, Milwaukee. Celebrate on.
CBS presents this program in color.
An educated person can't think he's going to get a recruit by strippers coming in.
They can fire you, but they can't eat you.
And they run through our ass like through a tin horn, man, and we could not stop them.
The audio you need to hear. It's DA's Soundcheck.
You can always stream us on your phone. Listen to us using the CBS Sports app or the Odyssey app. Either one of those are free. Download them and listen to us at your pleasure, at your comfort, on your phone. Take us with you. That is the Odyssey app or the CBS Sports app. We begin with Mike McCarthy, and I don't know if you saw Mike yesterday at the podium, but he's got this big gray beard now and aviator sunglasses. So clearly Mike McCarthy is worried about getting fired and going into witness protection program after this season. Here he is, noting that this year they get to kick things off on Hard Knocks.
I think it's important for all of us, and it's really the message actually meeting with the Hard Knocks staff was just to be yourself. Let them do their job, and we're going to do ours, and that's really my focus. So I've never put a lot of time or effort to really cared about what people think of me. That's why I was probably the only guy who walked in here without sunglasses. But it's we're just going to be ourselves.
Wait, did he say that he's the only guy that walked in without sunglasses or with sunglasses?
Without.
He was wearing sunglasses at the podium. He was wearing sunglasses as he did an interview.
That's why I was probably the only guy who walked in here without sunglasses. But it's we're just going to be ourselves.
So all the coaches in Dallas need to hold the paparazzi at bay. That's where they're wearing sunglasses, low ball caps. They don't want to be recognized. I don't mind being recognized, of course. Oh, I can't wait. You watch. McCarthy's going to look like the biggest buffoon ever the more cameras that are on him. The more we see behind the scenes, he's going to look worse and worse and worse. The best thing McCarthy can do is avoid the cameras. This is going to be a Hugh Jackson type thing. We were like, oh, God, this is awkward. This is not comfortable at all. I don't imagine this going very well for McCarthy this summer with the Hard Knocks crew. Here's Nick Saban. Deion Sanders the other day at his media days scolded a reporter who called him Deion. He said, you wouldn't call Nick Saban Nick. So here's Nick.
I respond to just about anything, and I've been called just about everything. So not something that's really important to me, but I think everybody should have the opportunity to sort of create or make the way their expectation is of how they get addressed, and it's not something that's really that significant to me.
Well, yes, that's because whether you call Nick Saban Nick or Coach or Nicholas or St. Nicholas or Bud or Bro or Chief or Broham, it's everybody has a respect for what he's accomplished and the type of coach he is. That goes without saying. Deion is uber sensitive that people don't view him as a legitimate coach and just a celebrity because, he's trafficked in celebrity for 40 years. So, frankly, what were you supposed to do? At least 30 years? I mean, since he was in college at FSU, Deion has made himself a one-name celebrity. Deion. That's what people call him. Nobody calls Cher Mrs. Cher. Deion has created a one-name brand, celebrity. And so when he gets called that, suddenly he's like, hey, little respect. I'm a coach. I mean, you've been called Deion and want to be called Deion for 30-some-odd years. Now, suddenly, 1 year at Jackson State, and I deserve some credit here. I'm a coach.
I'm going to hug him.
Yo, that's fast. Fun.
That was good, man.
Good.
You can run.
Run. Like rerun. And finally,
run.
Here is Mike Leach, the Pirate, as there's some talk, of course, about the 12-team college football playoff expansion. He says, blow it up. Let's do it bigger.
I think 12 teams is a huge step in the right direction. I personally would like to see 64, and you can format it out pretty easily, but I think it's a huge step the right direction, and I look forward to it.
So, Mike Leach is proposing a 6-game postseason. He's looking for a 6-game postseason. So it's a 12-game regular season and then a 6-game postseason. So you're basically playing another half a season to win a championship. I'm sure that'll go over well. Student athletes. Yeah, we'll play 12 regular season games, then a conference championship game. Then we'll start our 64-team tournament of the champions. We'll play another 6 football games.
I personally would like to see 64, and you can format it out pretty easily, but...
Could you imagine trying to find 64 worthy teams in college football? There's not 64 worthy teams for a bowl game. We are scraping the bottom of the barrel for 500 teams to go to bowl games. It would be ugly. All right, 5-7 Georgia Tech, you're in. 16 seed. Oh, you know what? 6-6 Toledo, you're in. 15 seed. And that is your sound check. Standing by this morning, in for Bogues this morning with your updates, is our friend Marco Belletti. I just want to know, Marco, before we get into headlines, what band T-shirt are you wearing?
Oh, I would love to give you something good, DA, but see, it's 6:30 in the morning here on the East Coast, and I'm in my son's bedroom, and I still have on my sweatpants and sweatshirt from sleeping. I haven't bothered my wife or my daughter, who are still in the bedroom, to go get clothes yet.
I see.
The one benefit of being at home.
What kind of hoodie is it?
Not a hoodie, just a sweatshirt with a little pocket in the front so you can put your hands in, just in case.
Okay.
Why not?
So it's not a hoodie. It's a crew neck, but you have 2 pockets that you can put your hands in, like at your belly part.
Yeah, pretty much. Like a quarterback, when you get cold, you come out of center. Yeah, just the oven mitts in there. Yeah, you never know.
Do you have...
Get brisk.
Do you have plays written on a wristband as well?
Sometimes. I didn't bust those out last night, though. Yeah, they're not really plays. They're to let me know where to go when I wake up in the morning, because I get confused and I have to figure out which job and where I'm headed and what time. So, yeah, just to, refreshers, because when you open your eyes in the morning and you have no idea where you are, it's good to have things written down.
Remember that time you slept on the floor of your apartment because you had no furniture?
That time.
Yeah. I love that story.
Yeah, I actually remember that well. That was for I think right before my son was born, because there was no furniture in the new apartment. My son was born like a week later, and they were like doing something that they were going to set up something with, I don't know, my wife's family I don't know what they were doing, but I was kind of like, you know what, I'm not doing this. So I slept on the floor, but I didn't have the right, see, the thing was no pillow, no jacket, no nothing, and it was cold. That was the problem. It was cold. I wasn't prepared.
The best part of the visual is that it's also the ground floor of an apartment, and there is no curtains or shades on the window. So people are just walking by, looking at you, sleeping on the floor with no furniture, no pillow, no blanket.
Like you're at Macy's.
You know what? I'm lucky I didn't. You got me. This was actually more recent. You go back, whatever it was, 15 years ago, one of my first apartments that I had literally nothing, and it wasn't going to come for another like week and a half. I slept on the hardwood floor with no curtain of any kind, like the sliding glass door where you look out to the, whatever that is, the common area, if you will. Slept on that hardwood floor in that area for a week and a half. I'm lucky that they didn't come and say, you know what, get this hobo out of here. I mean, it looked like I was squatting. I actually had the key. I lived there. I just didn't have anything to my name, and I slept on the hardwood floor. You know, why I didn't sleep in the bedroom on the hardwood floor where there was a door? No idea. But I slept in the living room so that everybody could watch through the common area.
It was like the Bronx Zoo, walking by, looking at Marco, sleeping like a tiger in the middle of the tiger's den. So why did you have no pillow and no blanket? And how was your back after a week and a half on a hardwood floor?
I wish I could give you some answers on this. Like, I think back and I look at, I mean, I'm not bright now, but like some of the decisions that I made, I'm like, what was I doing? Like, what? Why go in here? Why not have the pillow? Why didn't you bring something? No idea. I wish I had an answer. No clue. It was there. It was time to sleep. I laid down. I went to sleep. Like, I just didn't, none of these thought processes went through my head. I just, you know, I'm not bright. What can I say?
Like, even my cat finds a soft spot on the couch instead of just lying on the kitchen floor. But you were just like, okay, plop down and just sprawl out on a hardwood floor to go to sleep. It's amazing.
You know, I'm the clown that, again, now COVID's going to change everything. But, you know, in the offices when we used to come into work, I can't tell you how many times I slept on the floor with like my backpack, where you'd have like your headphones or whatever. There's nothing in there. It's not like would I have a briefcase? What do I need? Notes? Like I carried this thing basically for my headphones. Yeah. I use that as a pillow. Can't tell you how many times I slept on the floor at work with that. Why? I don't know. I don't have an answer for any of the dumb, stupid things that I've done basically my whole life.
So yesterday, Giannis, celebrating his championship, rolls through the Chick-fil-A drive-thru and has, I think it's Instagram Live going. So all of his fans, all of his followers can be interacting with him in real time, watching him in real time go through the drive-thru. And, of course, in classic Giannis fashion, he asks politely the young woman who's taking the order, who's standing outside the Chick-fil-A, if he may turn the camera on her and order as everybody is watching. Here is Giannis's order the day after winning a championship.
Can I put your camera? Do you mind or no?
Sure.
There's 150,000 people watching you right now.
Really?
Yes. So can I have, please, a 50-piece Mac Minis, 50 exactly.
Okay.
Not 51, not 49, chicken minis, yes, 50. And let me have a large drink, no ice, half Sprite, half lemonade.
Okay, so number one, the morning after, this must be the morning because he's ordering the chicken minis. I think, well, it doesn't have to be the breakfast chicken minis, I guess. It could be any time of the day chicken minis, maybe. But let's say it's seemed like it was early. I don't know if we can timestamp this. I think it was a breakfast order for him. The chicken minis are delicious, okay? These are the little breaded chicken nuggets. And the Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets are much smaller than your traditional chicken nuggets.
Chicken
nuggets.
They are small pieces of chicken, fried, and they are on this very delicious, light, fluffy mini bun. And it's like a little honey bunish. They are to die for. Okay, so first of all, just going with the Chick Minis is a very strong play the morning after winning a championship. Okay, so I am very I'm very impressed at this move. This was 8:15 in the morning from a timestamp.
According to the Instagram Live from his phone, it says 8:15 on the phone.
Boom. So that's what we're getting here. Now, the Chick Minis are a wonderful breakfast option. I mean, really delicious stuff. Now, the chicken biscuit is great as well. You can't go wrong there. But the Chick Minis, they have this little like honey glaze on them. So you just pop them. Unbelievable. Number 2, going 50. Obviously, it's a flex as he scores 50 points the night before. Mentions not 49, not 51. I need 50 of these. I don't know if they come in orders of like 10 or 6 or 8. I'm not sure. If 4 and 8 is what they come in.
That's what I'm looking at, the Chick-fil-A corporate menu, a 4-piece and an 8-piece.
Okay, so they'd have to break this down because that's 50 is not divisible by 4 or 8 there. So they have to kind of do him a solid. It would be, 6 8-pieces and then a 2 thrown on top.
Yeah, but isn't 8 times 4 42? And then you can get another one and that would get you to 50?
8 times 4 is definitely not 42.
36.
Wow, you're really stupid. You've had 2 shots at 8 times 4. You're
32. 16 and 16. 32.
You're in your mid-30s. Had 3 shots at getting 8 times 4 and messed up the first 2. Truly pathetic.
Shoot or shoot.
I mean, really, truly pathetic.
Thank you.
Again, Year of the Buffoon just writes itself. You got 8 times 4 wrong twice.
I know what just happened.
Just like so sad. I mean, attention, Odyssey executives. This is what I'm dealing with every day. My executive producer of a sports radio show on 200 plus affiliates can't get right 8 times 4 twice. This is my resource. This is who I'm asking to run the show. And you know, listeners sometimes say, hey, lay off Mraz. Hey, stop being so mean. Guys, do you have any idea like where my stomach goes? It drops when I hear things like this. I'm supposed to ask this person, this human being, to format a sports radio show at this level? I mean, like, think about the limitations. This is like Andy Reid being given Kyle Orton and saying, like, okay, I guess we're going to have to run the offense with Kyle Orton today. Like, how much more to limit? Whereas you got 8 times 4 wrong twice.
I did. Quick math
like,
wrong.
honestly, Taylor will know that in 3 years.
I used to be good at math, too.
I mean,
she'll know that in 30 seconds.
And, you know, you guys are like, oh, be nicer to Mraz, be nicer to Mraz. Do you know what type of fury I could unleash if I really let myself go? I mean, it would be haunting for everybody if I really, really let myself go. But I've worked on myself. I've done personal, exercises and mind clearing and patience. My wife has been very good about this. She has helped me out quite a bit, talking through a lot of the things. But man, at one point in my life, oh God, just the fury that this is who I have to depend on. Could you imagine? This is a grown adult. He got 8 times 4 wrong twice. 8 times 4, not 18 times 4. This is just basic 3rd grade arithmetic.
It's 32.
This is just basic 3rd grade arithmetic.
Isn't 8 times 4 42?
By the way, it's not like there's any numbers in sports. It's not like there's any numbers in radio. It's not like we have to add like minutes with timing, back timing, clocks, length of interviews, length of segments. It's not like we have to compute batting averages or, comparing stats. It's not like there's any numbers in what we do. And maybe we get Nancy back on the show today so I can ask her, Am I picking on Sean too much, Nancy? What are we being too mean?
Isn't 8 times 4 42?
Right,
Pete, we get it.
Are we overblowing?
42.
Are we overblowing this, Nancy? Bob, again, I just, am I in the wrong here, Bob and Nancy? Am I in the wrong? Your son is 34 years old, and it took 3 times to get 32. Where's our bosses? Hey, can we have a quick meeting? Sean, can you just learn 3rd grade math before we ask you to do anything else? Let's just put you on PTO for like a week, and you can learn 3rd grade vocabulary, 3rd grade math.
Isn't 8 times 4 42? Fast food math should be my wheelhouse, too.
Math should be your wheelhouse.
What is your wheelhouse? Have we gotten to that yet? Ranting about Giants coaches?
The 2000 Giants.
Okay. And I actually set up this segment for Mraz. I said last night, this is a really good segment to get Mraz involved.
That's why my stomach hurts right now.
So Giannis goes and he orders 50 chicken nuggets. And, I'm sorry, Chick Minis. And Chick Minis are delicious, and he gets 50. And I don't know if he's going to eat all 50, but he also then is going to wash it down with half Sprite, half lemonade, no ice. Now, I've never had a half Sprite, half lemonade. I would try this, but I think a power move is going no ice. I often want to go no ice, especially Chick-fil-A, because with the styrofoam cups, they seem to want to fill up the ice to the very top, and I don't need that. And I oftentimes want to go no ice, but then I get worried that it's going to get warm and flat real quick. So sometimes I want to say like little ice, but then I get a little too nervous that I'm overdoing it with the order. I don't want to bother anybody there because they're all so polite. And so I'm just like, I trust you, you know? But I always come out of it going, this is too much ice. Him going no ice with a carbonated beverage is a really bold move. And frankly, Mraz, I got to say, this is like his Game 6 effort. It is a no-fear type of moment for Giannis. 50 Chick Minis and no ice in a carbonated beverage of his own unique making.
I think this order actually, DA, ties into your open. This is exactly why we should expect more from the Bucks and more titles now, because the confidence is through the roof. Giannis pulled up to that drive-thru with utter, complete confidence, unlike me giving math symbols. To be able to say,
42.
I don't care how long this takes, I need 50 Chick Minis right now, and I don't care what kind of math you have to formulate that piece to come in.
Right.
But also to say, drink-wise, you're not putting ice in that cup, and you're mixing it. You're going to have to hit 2 different buttons to get it in there, and didn't hesitate, didn't have to apologize for the order, just ordered it. He's unbelievably confident right now in everything in life, and that confidence is only going to grow. It's an unbelievable order, and that's why you should expect more rings for the Bucks now, not less.
You see, and you just made up for the 32. That's a great take. That is just a great Giannis order take. I knew if we ran this play, you'd crush it. I knew it.
Phew.
Chicken nuggets. It's a great point. He is right now, he's got championship swagger. He just dominated on the biggest stage. He just collected a championship. He's holding up the Larry O'Brien trophy and goes, I can't be stopped right now. I'm going to go to Chick-fil-A. I'm going to order a number of chicken minis, not Mick. Chicken minis.
Nuggets.
Chick minis.
He did call them Mick Minis or something.
And he's going to say, I don't care if this is not part of your number system. You just make this happen. And I need no ice and a creative beverage that I just thought up. I mean, this is a man that right now cannot be stopped. This is a man that is just, he's in complete control of his situation. And I want to know more orders from Giannis because, frankly, now I want to try what a half lemonade, half Sprite is.
I love mixing beverages, and I've never tried that. Sounds awesome. Also, he straddled the MVP trophy between his legs as he was ordering.
Is that right?
It was in the car. If you look down, he shoots down the video. It's straddled between his legs.
And see, this is my type of MVP. This is my type of superstar. This is a superstar that carries his trophy with him, and as he's doing it, he's not going to Nobu Sushi like Tom Brady. You know, he's driving through the Chick-fil-A drive-thru, and he's crushing 50 Chick Minis. Last hour, we were talking about how Marco has Marco Belletti's in for Bogish today. And Marco has some of the most amazing sleeping stories ever, that he is one of those rare animals that is comfortable sleeping on the floor without anything under him. He has slept in the middle of his living room with hardwood floors, no blanket, no pillow, middle of the hardwood floor, and slept there for a week and a half. Marco also has slept here at the office on the floor with nothing but a backpack under him multiple nights. Now, I ask you this, Mraz, does Marco actually take the cake with most bizarre sleeping habits for here at CBS Sports Radio? We know Jody Mack has slept many, many, many times on the couch or the massage chair that's in the corner. We also know that Shep has gone many days without sleeping at all and coming directly into work. So who has the most bizarre sleeping history here at CBS Sports Radio?
It's amazing that we have a laundry list, and I hate to do this. I hate to mention the name, but I actually think it's got to be Peter Schwartz, DA.
Really?
Only because of the three you mentioned, and now I'm throwing Schwartz's hat into the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Pete is the only one with a bit of sleep apnea, which means he brings the whole contraption and the mask, and he has now, not once but twice, been sleeping on a floor with that Darth Vader breathing mask on and been lights out, and somebody walks in an office and trips over him to wake him up and startle him, and he gets up with the mask on. So much as Marco's on hardwood floors, as much as Shep has had bed bugs in the past, as much as Jody Max slept under Wawa cups in his car, I think when it's a big 400-pound man on a floor with the lights out with a breathing mask on that another employee trips over not once but twice, that has to take the cake.
And you'll never see me coming.
This is the glitz and glamour of the radio industry, okay? So you guys think we get to be on the radio and be famous and talk about sports, and it's all great and it's all gravy. Oh, there's a real dark underbelly here. And I laugh because you see some of these sports radio shows on television, and there's these big, huge sets and this huge Hollywood lighting, and everybody is glammed up and everybody's pretty. And I'm like, A, that's not real radio. B, that ain't my radio. My radio is flipping on the lights in an office and seeing Peter Schwartz with a Darth Vader mask sleeping on his back on the ground or falling asleep during an update. Or Jody Mack with spittle in a Wawa cup from the 1983 Philadelphia Phillies NL East champs next to him.
Dick Vermeil's on the cup.
or Shep dog walking 16 different German shepherds on his way to work on zero sleep.
The show Mr. Mandalorian.
Mr. Mandalorian.
Show Mr. Mandalorian.
Or Marco in his sixth Black Sabbath T-shirt coming in to work, having slept on nothing but his JanSport. That's what I know is radio.
The follow-up is Pete was asked, why did you sleep on the floor and not the couch we once had here? And Pete's answer, not close enough to an outlet for said mask.
He looks like he's a pesterminator when he comes in.
I'll be the hot dog.
That's not my radio when I see all pretty people on a glammed up set. No, this is my radio. My radio is the current camera we're using has been jerry-rigged out the back of a Buick, and it's propped up on 6 free books we got for having the authors on the show.
3 of them by Michael Kay. So half the guest bookings I have are just so we have more things to put us on camera.
It's like we're reenacting a bowling alley.
Another author, Perez? Yeah, we needed the free book just to prop up the second camera in here.
It should be okay now.
If we have anybody that writes a book on having handlebars on their seats, book that person. Let's get that person. Because
does that seem a little piggish to you?
we need that IQ. Standing by with our headlines is Marco Belletti. Marco, good morning.
Tia, I got to tell you, right now I feel a lot better about myself. This is That was very. I needed that information. That makes me feel better. I'm going to be able to sleep better tonight.
It's insightful, isn't it? We have a lot of sleep issues around here.
Yeah, although I may have nightmares of Schwartz in a mask coming to try to get me and suffocate me.
Yeah.
All right, this one we're sponsored by Progressive Insurance. You could save big when you bundle your auto, your home, your motorcycle, RV, or boat. Visit Progressive.com. All right, we had a lot of baseball, including the Giants able to rally in the ninth against their arch rivals.
1-1. Flores hits a high drive. Left field. This one is gone. And the Giants have gone ahead in the ninth inning. His first career hit against Kenley Jansen was a bomb, a 2-run homer.
Wilmer Flores capping a 3-run inning. Giants up in the Dodgers 4-2. That's Dave Fleming, the call, Giants Radio Network. Elsewhere, you got Yadier Molina delivering a walk-off RBI double. Cardinals slip by the Cubs 3-2 and 10. Red Sox erased the Blue Jays 7-4. Boston homering 5 times as a club. Yankees walked it off with the Phillies 6-5 and 10. Ryan Lamar, your game-winning single. Marlins escaped the Nationals 3-1 and 10. Mets shut down the Reds 7-0. Dom Smith a grand slam while Marcus Stroman fans 7 over 8 innings, a 1-run ball. And the Rays, they beat the Orioles 5-4, courtesy of an Austin Meadows game-winning 2-run single. Seattle Kraken had their expansion draft in the NHL. Flames captain Mark Giordano heads the list of the new players, along with the Islanders' Jordan Eberle. Now, one name noticeably missing was Carey Price. He was available. Kraken instead, they saved some cap space. They went with former Panthers goalie Chris Drieger. College football, there's a report in the Houston Chronicle that Texas and Oklahoma have reached out to try to join the SEC. Meanwhile, there is a lot of talk, of course, about college football going to that 12-team playoff format as soon as 2023. For Mississippi State head coach Mike Leach, he says, let everybody in.
I think 12 teams is a huge step in the right direction. I personally would like to see 64, and you can format it out pretty easily.
Yeah, that's easily formatted out. And Mike Leach wanting to let everyone come in, basically like we're playing college hoops. And then you got Dabo Swinney of Clemson on the other side, who apparently wants to go back to the BCS.
I'm not for it, but I wasn't for the 4-team. I don't ever get it right. But we just kind of keep on keeping on.
Now, luckily, Dabo is not in charge of this because no one wants to go back to 1983, where we basically guessed who the national champion was.
Right.
And you got Hall of Fame coach Bobby Bowden announcing he's been diagnosed with a terminal medical condition. 91-year-old coach Florida State, 34 years. He won a pair of national titles. He's second all-time in coaching victories. He's got 357. And now it is time to be stunned.
It doesn't take much to surprise this bouncing baby boy.
This is honestly the most stunned I have ever been on the show to a news.
The DA show is stunned to a news.
All right, now this edition of Stunned to a News takes us to Florida. Now, believe it or not, it does not start with a Florida man, because that's usually how every story starts, but not this one. Instead, we're talking pigeons. Pigeons.
Okay.
Apparently, 100 homing pigeons fell off a truck on I-95.
Wow.
Now, because pigeons roost at night, the pigeons just stayed on the road and refused to move. Now, this caused I-95 to be closed for 3 hours.
Oh, no.
3 hours.
Oh, no.
Now, apparently, bright lights from vehicles nearby startled the pigeons. Why they didn't figure this out for 3 hours,
Well, they were on the interstate. There should have been a lot of bright lights right when they fell out of the truck.
Yeah, 3 hours. Now, this led to apparently a scene out of the birds and pigeons just flying all over the place, not knowing where to go, because apparently these homing pigeons, mind you, didn't know how to get home. How that's possible, I don't know.
They're homing pigeons. Aren't they supposed to be trained to go home?
You would think, and it's in the name, homing pigeons. No idea where to go. So they're just flying all over the place. Again, 3 hours, I-95 is shut down to traffic. I can't imagine being on that road watching going, what the hell are we doing? And as the last checked, they are able to corral 73 of these pigeons thus far. They're looking for the owner, who apparently didn't train these homing pigeons to go home.
Wow.
No one can figure out where they came from to begin with, and the pigeons have nowhere to go, and we're still trying to figure out where the other pigeons are.
Do we have any idea if homing pigeons are still used for anything? I mean, back before GPS and technology, I could understand using homing pigeons, but are we still using homing pigeons for anything? Marco?
I'm going to go with no, simply because they didn't train them. I mean, isn't the whole point of a homing pigeon to be able to, no matter where you are, find your way home?
Yeah, right. I didn't think they had to be trained that way. I thought that just instinctually they knew where their home was and they would always be able to fly home.
They're used for
that how it works?
smuggling drugs across the border now.
Oh, is that right? They're drug smuggling birds.
Yeah, homing pigeons now have been reported to be used as a smuggling technique, getting objects and narcotics across borders and into prisons.
See, okay.
How big are these pigeons? They size this Peter Schwartz? How the hell are they getting a lot of narcotics in and out of anything?
Well, a couple of little bags tied to their feet. I could see that working.
I guess if you have 7,000 pigeons somewhere, sure.
Between 2009 and 2015, they had carried items such as cell phones, SIM cards, phone batteries, and USB cords into prisons in the Brazilian state of Sao Paulo.
Wow. You see that?
Yet they can't find their way home from Florida.
Well, I guess that's how you have to train them to know where to go in prison and how to get back to the drug den so that you can tie them up with USB cords and little bags of cocaine.
What an amazing animal. But how do they get stuck on the interstate? Just go somewhere. The air is your home.
The air?
Right, go home. The air is your home.
I don't know. Maybe a nice hot pavement in Florida somewhere feels like a nice little nest to them.
And how do they survive 3 hours on the interstate with all that wildlife going on in Florida? How does nothing come up and eat them?
Gator, lizard,
right?
Python.
It's a paved jungle. Literally, any animal could come up and eat those pigeons, and somehow they stick together and survive on an interstate?
Wow. So these were drug-running pigeons.
Yeah, making their way up the Florida interstate. Who knows where they're going? That's probably why they haven't been claimed. The guy who had that many pigeons is probably running some operation.
That's exactly right. Doesn't want to be tracked. Drug dealer. Marco, we're putting this piece together. You see this? Detective Milkshake on the case.
Good for you. Now you got 73 pigeons in a crate somewhere, apparently tied to a lot of cocaine, and someone's getting some free drugs in the deal. Because they were able to corral 73. They're still looking for the other 27.
Well, we don't know if the drugs were on the pigeons. We shouldn't incriminate the pigeons yet.
So they were going somewhere to then go into the bathroom and get the drugs strapped to the pigeons before they sent them out to homing, because at that point they would train them to figure out where they were going?
Well, I think that if you're going to train homing pigeons, you ship them somewhere, and then you're teaching them, this is your home, this is where the drugs are, we're going to send you to the jail, and you got to strap them up with those USB cards and stuff like that.
Can I be there when they train the pigeons? Is it like Mr. Miyagi? Or like, how do you train the pigeons? I want to see this. I want to see how we figure it out. Like, do we let them go from the living room to the bathroom and see if they can figure that out first in small increments and see if they can get around the corner kind of deal?
What?
It's a great question, Mark. You bring up wonderful questions. Thanks so much. That's Stunned to a News. Marco's back with us next hour for your headlines this morning.
The sizzle of the best goals.
Sing us a song. You're the overtime ending man.
The saltiness of the best games.
God, we're having a good time. Having a good time.
We crave the nightly action of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
That's a hockey, it's only a game. Why do you have to be mad? He's a good guy.
It's your morning serving of Canadian bacon. Only on the DA Show.
I feel alive!
Oink, oink. 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 Oink, oink.
It is time for Canadian Bacon. Yesterday, the expansion draft of the Seattle Kraken. Mraz is here, complete with puns and pucks to take us through Who's members of the newest NHL expansion team? Mraz, take it away.
All right, DA, the crackheads were ready. The crack den was ready. Jeff Bezos has landed from his fake trip to outer space. And finally, a hockey roster would be put together for the city of Seattle last night. Seattle rolled out the red carpet for past city great athletes to announce picks and get the crowd into a frenzy. Sean Kemp's moves were even there.
Yeah.
The only problem is those athletes.
He's big.
He was a big boy.
Big boy.
Big boy. By the way, still hasn't answered us from 3 years ago to join the show.
At least we know that he's alive.
Right. We found him. The only problem with these athletes is they didn't have any idea who any of these players were or maybe what hockey is that they would be announcing. And right off the bat for the first selection, Marshawn Lynch tasted the rainbow.
The Seattle Kraken select from the Nashville Predators. Marshawn, take it away.
Let's see, so with this the first pick, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, with the first pick, we're going with the boy Callie, though. You know what I'm talking about?
Yup, Callie Yarncrow.
Callie Yarncrow.
Boy.
Yes, the running back from Cali announced Cali spinning some yarn crow from the Predators to join this Seattle Kraken franchise. Marshawn Lynch, a little beastquake for those Seattle fans once again. And if you don't recognize that name either, it should not shock you. The Kraken DA didn't really go for the big unprotected names that some of these teams had put out there. Rather, they went for smaller contracts for the most part and younger rosters, younger assets to trade. They could have had a star goalie carry them to a Stanley Cup final like Vegas did in their first season. However, for GM Ron Francis, the price wasn't right.
Well, I mean, I think anytime you hear the name Carey Price, you have to consider it, and we did. Not only as a goaltender, his reputation in the community is outstanding as well. So, we just, as we go through your selections, you look at different things and what options might be available and what the cost is. And at the end of the day, we decided to go in a different direction. But, he's certainly a hell of a goaltender.
Yeah, they passed on Carey Price as the face of the franchise, instead going with a Daydream Drieger from the Florida Panthers to be their goaltender of the future. Remember, Vegas did get Marc-Andre Fleury in their expansion draft. Carey Price not to be, for some reason, for Seattle. Last but not least, when you think of Seattle weather in hockey, you may be thinking clouds, a lot of rain, a lot of dreariness and depression for as far as the eye can see. Somebody should have probably told the incoming draft picks that, including former Islanders forward not Michael Jordan Eberle.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Obviously the weather's amazing. You get the backdrop behind me, but more than anything, it's just the reception that we've gotten with the fans, the turnout, the boats, and it's pretty amazing. So I think obviously it's a weird experience when you're leaving a team, you're coming, but when you get a reception like this, you get excited.
The weather is amazing in Seattle.
For one day.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Eberle's mountains assessment was actually accurate, though, and with this roster, Seattle will need to climb one to get to the playoffs in year one. That is your Canadian Kraken bacon.
Oink, 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 oink.
So there were some real easy ones here, some softballs. The price wasn't right.
Here we go. By the way, first time we're doing this in person in a long time, so I'm a little more scared.
Number 2, star goalie Carey Price. Not bad. That was actually a pretty good one.
Thank you.
Is that how you pronounce the number 1 draft pick? Yarn Crow?
Yarn Crow, yes.
Spinning some Yarn Crow?
Yes. And the running back from Cali announced Cali.
Feel like there could have been a Crow reference, though, a Torg Bellinger reference to the Crow part.
There probably could have been. I focused really hard on the yarn.
Daydream Drieger?
Yeah, the goalie's last name is Drieger. I got to be honest, I've never heard of the guy from Florida.
But what's Daydream reference?
Daydream Believer. Drieger sounds like Believer.
Oh, wow. Drieger Believer?
You don't hear Drieger and immediately start singing Daydream a Drieger.
I think you'd have to sing that for people to get it.
Yeah, good point. It probably should have.
And not Michael Jordan Eberle?
His name's Jordan Eberle. They didn't get Michael Jordan.
Let's ask this hockey question. Do you like what the Knights did a couple of years ago, going after veterans, specifically a high-priced veteran Stanley Cup winning goaltender? Or do you like this tactic by the Kraken, all young guys, cheap guys.
Well, I have to side with Vegas because they made a Stanley Cup in their first year.
And they're consistently one of the best teams in hockey.
Right, and there were plenty of viable options for the Kraken to go after. They could have gotten a Vladimir Tarasenko. Now they would have had to sign him. That's a star player from the Blues that won the Stanley Cup a couple of years ago. It felt different. It felt like a different approach. It looks like they're playing more of the long game here, although it's hard to fault Vegas. They've been in 3 conference finals at least in 4 years since coming into the league. So, or 2 in 3 years. I've lost track of the years since coming into the league. Yeah, the Kraken, their most notable player they got was 37-year-old Matt Giordano, the captain from the Calgary Flames, but he's older. That makes sense, the Flames getting rid of that contract. And there's even talk about them now trading him potentially in a deal that could involve Jack Eichel in a 3-team deal, could involve the New York Rangers. So even a name you might have heard of doesn't really add up. And I just think if you're bringing hockey to a city like Seattle, give them somebody a casual hockey fan in Seattle might know, somebody to sell a jersey after. And they really just don't have that right now. They have a bunch of young guys, a bunch of third-line type players, and they're going to try to build this thing. I don't expect the playoffs, and I just think marketing-wise, you want to get at least one big fish.
Number 2, Sean Kemp is really big.
Huge.
He's really big. They put a Kraken T-shirt on him, and it did not fit, and I think it was an XL. He needed a 2 or a 3X.
Yeah, my guess is he probably gave somebody a heads up. Yeah, I'm an XL in total denial. The only thing he's dunking right now is an Aru.
Number 3, what do we think about the uniforms, the jerseys? They were finally on players. They have the S, which has a little red eye, so it's kind of like the sea creature.
Right.
And the S, I guess, is supposed to kind of look like a sea creature as well.
Yeah, it's like a sea dragon, kraken, whatever you want to call it, and it gives you the... I think they were fine. I think they were just hokey enough for an expansion team. Seattle also is kind of an area where hokey uniforms have lived. I mean, they invented the teal with the Mariners. The Seahawks have looked like lightning bugs. But they also, I don't think we're so off the wall where you don't take them seriously as an NHL franchise. So I'm not going to tell you, oh my goodness, I love the Kraken uniforms, but I don't think they did any harm there. I think they're fine.
I'll be honest. I always thought a Kraken was a big squid type thing with tentacles that came up and swallowed old boats, from under the sea. I didn't ever think it was like a...
sea dragon.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a sea dragon. I thought it was more like a squid or something. And these make it seem like it's more of a dragon.
Yeah, it kind of actually had like a little bit of a Game of Thrones feel from their like dragons and the sea and stuff, but that's fine.
But generally I like them. I like the color scheme. It's kind of like a turquoise with a dark, dark blue.
And as I said, Kraken is a totally different name. You've pointed to wanting teams to go more of that soccer route, like, if they were called Seattle Hockey Club or something like that. If you're going to go with a team name, we've been there, done that with every animal under the sun. I like a little something different with a Kraken. So I think that's cool, too. They get points for being different like that.
I do, too, although I wonder how it ages. Like in 1995, the Toronto Raptors is cool because of Jurassic Park. If you were to name the Toronto basketball team today, you would not call it Raptors anymore.
You're probably right.
So in 20 years, will we think the Kraken's kind of the moment? Isn't there a rum or something that's called the Kraken?
Kraken, yeah, there is a Kraken rum. Gary Sanchez is referred to as the Kraken. Oh, and it should be noted, there was a Seattle radio host that tweeted out all of these fans in their kayaks outside where they were doing the draft, and he said, quote, "The crackheads have arrived."
Is that right?
He did. Somebody who listens to the show added me and said, "This guy's stealing your bit. They're starting to call them the crackheads already, like I predicted."
And then somebody needs to get to these guys and let them know, hey, this was one day the sun was out. For the rest of the year, 364 days a year, it's really overcast and really rainy.
Right, the mountains might be beautiful. Who in their right mind says, I love being here because the weather's great? What?
Seattle's an amazing town, and it's gorgeous. Just like when I was in Seattle, you look around, you're like, everything is beautiful. But really, there's like 3 weeks a year where it's really beautiful. And then almost the rest of the year, just like British Columbia and Vancouver.
Oh.
You're like, why is it raining every single day for like 7 months? Today, this afternoon, in a couple of hours, Bucks fans are getting ready to line the streets for their parade. And if they had 65,000 people outside of an arena, how many people are going to show up today? It should be noted, the best parades are always the NBA and the NHL parades because they happen in the middle of the summer. It's the one time a year where your championship is in the best possible weather. So you get to go out. The guys are on floats. They're in T-shirts and shorts. You're slamming beers. They're slamming beers. It's a big old party. When you win a World Series, early November, late October, dicey. Many parts of the country, not the South, obviously. Super Bowl, unless it's Tampa, where it's beautiful and you're on boats, early February, you don't want to be outside. The last thing you want to do is be outside, and especially standing there for like 3 hours to get a good spot along the parade route, rough. So this is the best. Enjoy a middle of July day to celebrate the Bucks in Wisconsin, where this is the time of year to be outside waiting for 3 hours. So we felt like we here on the DA show have a certain kinship to the good people of Wisconsin. They love meat, they love cheese, they love beer, as do we. And so...
valid point.
We wanted to create a bratwurst, a celebratory bratwurst this weekend that we would make and eat in honor of the Bucks championship. Let's cue the music. Now, AZ in Wisco tweets, DA, going to stick with what I know here. Cooking those Bucks brats. First, they go into a pot with a couple of beers and a sliced up onion just off of a simmer. 60 minutes, then onto the grill, low and slow, back into the pot until serving. So putting them in a pot with beer and an onion, that sounds really good. Dylan tweets, my favorite sausage creation, get an Italian sausage or chorizo, then top it with chicken fajitas. That's shredded chicken, pepper, onion, and cheese. For your condiment, go spicy barbecue sauce or secret stadium sauce, another Wisconsin classic. Hashtag I'm fat.
Good morning. How are you?
Chorizo.
All right, so Mraz, let's start with you. What is your signature Bucks bratwurst?
All right, so I've thought long and hard about this. I think you want to go an element of simple, but you still need complicated. You don't want to go too much each way, so you want to kind of go down the line. I want to go a little bit right off the bat, Philadelphia twist. I want cheese whiz on there, like a cheesesteak would have. Obviously, you need some sort of cheese involved if I'm going elaborate, because Wisconsin's known for cheese. What better cheese than something out of an aerosol can? But really, it blends and melts well with the steak, so I want to see how it melts on the brat there. I'm going to then coat that with some Russian dressing. Russian dressing will obviously soak into the bread a little bit pretty good there. It gives it a little bit of a tang, a little bit of a bite. I want that. I'm going to top it off, by the way, with a little coleslaw. Give me that cold crunch and everything that goes with it. But probably most importantly, and this is an old school thing I've taught everybody, a lot of times a sandwich, we can go obviously with a brat here, can be made or broken with the bread. I don't want to go standard hot dog bun here. I'm going to go bit of, your hoagie grinder, a little bit of a tough outside baguette type of feel roll to it. This way it has a little more to absorb the Russian and the coleslaw and the whiz that goes with it. A nice hot brat, cheese whiz, coleslaw, Russian dressing onto that big hearty bread.
That sounds pretty good. So you have the moisture there.
Yes.
And you have the structure of the bread.
You don't want to fall apart. You got to think. You're going heavy here. You throw a hot dog bun or something like that. You try to go cheap on the bread, you're going to ruin the whole experience.
Okay. Pete the Body Bilotti, what is your deer dog?
Oh, it involves grilling the brat. We're going to grill the brat. We're going to put it on a nice grill it really dark. Make it really well done.
Okay.
And then you're going to put some mozzarella on it. A little mozzarella. That happens when it comes off the grill.
Wow. Okay.
So a little mozzarella on the grill. And on the side, while you're cooking the brat, you're cooking ham on the grill.
Ham?
You're cooking ham on the grill.
Okay.
And then you're going to put that on as well. And then you're going to top it off with green peppers.
Green peppers.
Green peppers on top for the Bucks. And then a little coating of spicy mustard on the bun, which will be an onion roll.
An onion roll as well?
Yes.
That's very creative. I like that one a lot. Mraz, I think we have a winner with Pete's.
Again, I like that he went creative with bread there. The moment you start thinking about bread, the moment you start thinking about realistic expectations for a nice, hearty, and delicious brat, an onion roll, that's something different. That's something with a little flavor in it.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, so mine is going to be a theme with the Greek freak, with Giannis, to me, it has to be built around something Greek. And so I'm taking a bratwurst and I'm adding Greek feta cheese to it. Now, before I do that, I'm taking those shoestring frozen fries. I'm heating up the shoestring frozen fries because one of my favorite Greek dishes is Greek fries. They take those fries, they put the feta on them, and they put the olives on them, they put all this tomato on them and everything, and the fries are great. Tzatziki sauce. But with the feta, I don't need the tzatziki sauce. So I'm taking the shoestring fries, heating them up in an air fryer or something like that, maybe the oven, putting them on the bratwurst. Then I'm putting the Greek feta on there. And I'm putting chopped up tomatoes on there. That gives it the moisture. The only thing that I'm a little unsure on is the sauce. Tzatziki would be the Greek sauce, but you already have the dairy with the feta cheese. A tangy barbecue sauce might be good. A mustard might be good as well. I have to decide on that. And then I was just going to go a standard bratwurst bun, but you're telling me, Mraz, there needs to be something more signature about it.
Yeah, because it's going to fall apart. You're adding density to this.
I can't put it on a pita.
You could.
Could I?
Why not? Commit.
So then it's almost like a gyro.
A brat gyro. If you're going Greek themed, go Greek themed. I think that would work well.
You do?
I do. You also have to be careful. It can't be a day-old pita where it splits in half when you fold it. It's got to wrap around the circumference of that, Hollander, brat, whatever. Cylinder.
Okay, so I defer to you. What sauce does this need?
So I immediately thought tzatziki, but I understand if you're going feta, maybe that's a little overwhelming. I think maybe, though, you kind of play into it. Maybe not a mustard. How about a tangy honey mustard on there? You still get a little bit of that mustard feel and a little bit of the tang that can kind of play off of similar flavors with Greek.
You could also try a horseradish.
A horseradish. Okay. All
right. Different. People won't expect it.
People won't expect it.
All right, so we will make these this weekend. And so follow us on our social media channels, especially on Instagram. It's a perfect platform for us to do this on Instagram. My Instagram handle is @DamonAmendo. Mraz's yours is @MrazCBS, correct?
Yeah, you've noticed the trolling. You know where it is.
Well, that's also your Instagram, though.
Yes,
you don't really troll on Instagram.
I don't. That's all Taylor and puppies.
And Pete, what's your Instagram?
Pete the Body.
@Pete the Body, right.
No one knows what analytics is. They think it's like a bunch of nerds doing math, which I don't know, maybe that's what it is.
It's time now for the mothership's advanced analytics.
Earlier this morning, Mraz got 8 times 32 wrong, 8 times 4 wrong, twice. He guessed 42 and then 36. Ultimately, of course, 8 times 4 is 32. So we asked you guys, would you be able to get 8 times 4 correct on the first try? 91% of you answered, of course. 91%. So Mraz is in the bottom, is that the 9th percentile or something with our...
You're asking me to do more math?
Or the 91st percentile, probably the 9th percentile of our listeners. According to the New York Department of Education, 3rd grade students are expected to be able to solve problems with simple multiplication and division of numbers up to 100. So Mraz failed at a 3rd grade education level today. Some math facts. 4 times 4 is 16. A baseball diamond is a perfect rhombus. 3 plus 2 is 5. And the week before Valentine's Day, about 58 million pounds of chocolate is purchased. And 20 divided by 5 is 4. So I went out to the newsroom, and Tom DiCelestino, D-Cell, who is now the executive producer of Writer's Show, learned of this and said, you know what you guys should do? It's the dog days of summer. You should just do Mraz multiplication tables. And he has to get them right before the break.
Just get to football.
Before the hard out, Mraz has to get simple multiplication correct. And I said, that's actually a wonderful idea, although that might break my spirit even more. Like if I just randomly ask you, Mraz, 7 times 8.
56.
Okay. So I'm so glad you said that, because if you got that wrong as well, it would be somewhat devastating.
Every squirrel gets a nut.
Believe me, I've done 8 times everything today, so I think anything with an 8 involved, I'm going to get.
7 times 6.
42.
Okay. All right. So for some reason, you just 8 times 4 you spaced on.
Guys, I'm not bad at math. I know how to add up calorie counts when I look at McDonald's on the menu. I just had a bad whiff.
Okay. All right. 4 times 9.
36.
Look, you're good at this.
Phew. Big comeback story here.
12 times 3.
Oh, boy. That's 36 as well.
Oh, boy. 12 times 4.
48.
So you're getting all these right. This is much.
12 times 5.
That anything with a 5 has to end in a 0, so it's going to be 60.
Look at this.
Right.
Okay. So you're redeeming yourself.
I see. I'm not that bad a student. I did well in the SATs here, if we remember.
Well, that was a controversial score.
The score might have been controversial. The score still wasn't bad, even if controversial.
That's fair. 7 times 7?
That's always 49.
As opposed to sometimes there were other.
I don't know. It's 49.
Sometimes 9 times 7 is 63. Sometimes.
7 times 5?
35.
All right. So look at this.
So, yeah, every time you times it by 5, it doesn't mean a 0. It just has to be a 5 or a 0.
Right.
Ask him one more and look at his face when he does it.
6 times 5.
30.
You're holding your brain so it doesn't fall out of your ear.
Just trying to steer this thing.
All right. Well, what else could our fail be besides this iconic moment?
Even the DA show is not perfect. We know. Shocking. Here's the epic fail.
4 and 8 is what they come in?
That's what I'm looking at the Chick-fil-A corporate menu, a 4-piece and an 8-piece.
Okay, so they'd have to break this down because that's 50 is not divisible by 4 or 8 there. So they have to kind of do him a solid. It would be, 6 8-pieces and then a 2. 2 thrown on top.
Yeah, but isn't 8 times 4 42? And then you can get another one and that would get you to 50?
8 times 4 is definitely not 42.
36.
Wow, you're really stupid. You've had 2 shots at 8 times 4. You're
32. 16 and 16. 32.
You're in your mid-30s. Had 3 shots at getting 8 times 4 and messed up the first 2. Truly pathetic.
Shoot or shoot.
Whereas you got 8 times 4 wrong twice.
I did.
Quick
math
like
wrong.
honestly, Taylor will know that in 3 years. You guys are like, oh, be nicer to Mraz. Be nicer to Mraz. Do you know what type of fury I could unleash if I really let myself go? I mean, it would be haunting for everybody if I really, really let myself go. But I've worked on myself. I've done personal, exercises and
The worst experience I ever did.
And could we maybe we get Nancy back on the show today so I can ask her, what, am I picking on Sean too much, Nancy? What are we being too mean?
Isn't 8 times 4 42? Right, Pete, we get it.
Are we overblowing?
42.
Are we overblowing this, Nancy?
Hey, welcome. I'm Bob. Come on in. This is my boss.
Bob, again, am I in the wrong here, Bob and Nancy? Am I in the wrong? Your son is 34 years old, and it took 3 times to get 32. Where's our bosses?
Epic fail, you loser.
That is why you fail.
Epic fail.
Hawaiian Tony Danza tweets, this picture of Sean Kemp squeezing into a Seattle Kraken jersey reminds me of that picture of Mraz wearing the small T-shirt that said living life or something like that, living life large. No, it was the White Castle T-shirt. What was that?
No limit.
No limit. And he had puffiness with sodium. Both Sean Kemp and Mraz need to, quote, unpipe it. Cold water. It is a devastating look for Sean Kemp, once upon a time the Rain Man, to be, basically bulging out of a 2X Seattle Kraken T-shirt.
Like a Hurricane Man.
Now he's the Gain Man.
He's...
Unpipe it!
Oh, man.
Now we know why he didn't join us 3 years ago. He was at a buffet.
Get cold water.
Jeff in South Jersey says, DA, quote, "You're not taking any pie out of my dessert." Solid DA proverb there, complete with John Sterling pause. Yeah, I was searching for one there. That didn't come out quite correct. And Hawaiian Tony Danza adds, how about a real Shep type move, a.k.a., Mrs. Cher, please, excuse me, Mrs. Cher, if you may let me call you that, can I please have 2 pieces of your barbecue chicken?
I have to think about that. I know we're on air, but I really have to analyze that a lot more.
Shep ordering barbecue chicken from Cher's Bodega. And his hashtag is, tell them you're my girlfriend. Hashtag. Tell them, Marissa. Tell them you're my girlfriend.
I'm your girlfriend.
You think he let her out yet?
I am off tomorrow because, of course, Summer Fridays rolls right along. And Pete has a Summer Friday, and Bogues has a Summer Friday, and Cap has a Summer Friday. Mraz is here, so what could go wrong? Mraz will bring in Noelle or Noah. What's her name?
Noah.
She's going to voice the Open tomorrow and do updates. Thanks to Sean Mraz, executive producer. Pete the Body Bilotti, the Wheels of Steel and Audio, a director. Andrew Kaplan, the Wizard of Watch DA, and Marco Bledi are in headlines. Have a great day, everybody. The mothership disconnects.
Thinking of buying a house and want a really low interest rate? Owning has a special for home purchases, where Owning pays all your closing costs, and the rate in APR is an unheard of 1.75% for a 15-year fixed mortgage with 20% down. This is the craziest low rate for a mortgage with no closing costs that Owning has ever done. 1.75% rate in APR. Heck, we're almost paying you to live in a new house. Call 833-2-OWNING or go to owning.com to see if you qualify for this crazy low 1.75% rate. That's a fixed rate loan at 1.75% with no closing costs. Call 833-2-OWNING now because 1.75% could go away at any time.
NMLS 2611, licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act, subject to credit approval. Offer assumes the use of lender's choice escrow and title services. Call 833-858-0066 for terms and conditions.
That's 833-2-OWNING or owning.com. 833-2-OWNING or owning.com.